So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. I will call the roll in Phil's absence. Vice Chair Finnerty.
Present.
Blaney. John Blaney, not here. Zuccarelli. John Zuccarelli.
You're muted, John.
Present.
Robin Long.
Present.
Glorian Burke.
Present.
Chair is here. So we are 5 here and 2 out. Please join in for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
flag
of the
the
United
United
States
States of
of
America,
America and to
to the republic
for
which it stands,
one
nation,
under
under God, indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I guess we'll skip over the minutes. I don't know if there are any. And I have to continue reading this. We have a full agenda posted on the town's website for today's meeting. The town's planning staff, as well as applicants and their representatives, will be participating by a Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. Charles Certain will be muting and holding the speakers in a virtual waiting room until it's their time to give testimony before the board. A reminder that applicants and their agents should state their name and address for the record. As is typical, there are no public comments allowed during our daytime meetings. The link to participate in this meeting via Zoom can be found on the town's website. The meeting is also being live streamed on the town's website on the town clerk's meeting portal. If you have any difficulty accessing the meeting, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the discussion and vote on the application. Finally, in accordance with the governor's order, this meeting will be recorded and transcribed at a later date and will be made available to the public.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. I understand there are minutes from October 22nd that may be voted upon.
Okay. October 22nd minutes. May I have a motion to accept those?
Motion.
By Dennis, second by Robin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Okay, I will close the afternoon session and go into the work session. Is,
Charles, it's USA Gas, I think is the first.
yes,
item.
USA Gas is the first. Is who is coming in on that?
Yeah, Ron Kawapala. Do you see that name, Charles? Great,
There
thank
he
you.
is, yeah,
And I'll share the screen. I'll just give you a little overview.
please.
Sorry about that. And this is the property. I'm just going to show you the aerial. This is the gas station, which is on the corner of Montauk Highway and Depot Road in Westhampton, the hamlet of Westhampton. So you can see the existing gas pumps, and this is a service station too. So they are, repairing cars, and you can see that in the aerial. The applicant is proposing to not change the footprints or the pumps in this situation, but to improve the appearance of the building. So this would be the front bays, dress it up, new vinyl siding, and trim, ASIC trim, and the cultured stone on the bottom. And I think currently it's a flat roof, if not mistaken, but the applicant can speak to that, and that they want to add the features on the top. So they're coming here to ask you your opinion and to ask you what the process might be in this case. There was no previous site plan on the site, so it's not eligible for any administrative review. So, Ron, would you like to speak on this?
Ron?
Yes, hi, Ron Quapple, architect. Basically, we have like a 1950s, Exxon, mobile station or whatever it was back then. Flat roof with like aluminum metal panels on the outside. So basically the owner came to me asking me, we want to make it more like the Hamptons look, and they had change the siding, add a sloped roof onto it, add some stone onto the bottom. I said, sure, let's do a design, go to a work session and see, if they're receptive to something like that. So I came up with some drawings, front and side elevation, and basically a site plan. And they just, wanted to know if, what your feelings are on this, and if you're, would approve something like this.
Are you going to keep it as a repair stick?
Yes, repair. Yeah, repair. We're not changing anything on the inside except for adding a roof, and it's basically facade renovation. It's all we're doing is to this project.
Wasn't this the application with the traffic on Depot Road, the entrance and the exiting on Depot Road? Or
The
am I-
only application we've had to date is the sign that you see in the corner, the existing sign right here. That was a variance with the zoning board of appeals, and you saw that as a variance ZBA report and also the design of the sign.
What about the setback then in the rear from this building? Ron, what is that setback?
That setback is 9.8 feet.
So
What's behind it?
it's right on the line, isn't it?
There's a residential house behind it, looks like.
Yeah, see the residential.
Yeah, so there's virtually, I don't know what's going on back there, but it looks like, is that storage, Ron, or what is
Yeah,
it?
just a fenced in area so they can put stuff, it's where the electric comes in. The HVAC is back there. I think one of the compressors back there. It's just storage. It's a very small lot. You really can't do anything to it, as far as parking or anything like that.
Can you make an effort to clear away some of that? So, I mean, you're right. What is it, 10 feet, Claire, in this zone?
Yeah, there's a 6-foot PVC fence there, and he has it along the back side between the building and the property, and then they also have it screened with some bushes of evergreens on the owner's property, the residential property. It's pre-screened pretty well. So
Yeah, it looks like the residential owner has done the best he can to hide it.
yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know when this thing was built. Maybe in the 40s, 50s.
Is there a structure that I'm looking at, or is that a truck?
Yeah, it looks like a truck or something like that. There's nothing like that there now. Looks like that's a truck that they parked back there, I guess, when they were working on it.
Can I ask how many bays there are?
Excuse me?
How
There's
many-
two bays. There's 2 bays for working on cars.
And the cars that are, can you go back to the other, Claire? Thank you. That was good. Okay, all these cars that are parked outside the property line along the road, what are all those cars for 2 bays?
Those are cars that they work on. I mean, they put their overfill of cars there when there's just park them there. But I'm proposing to strike that and like that as a no parking zone.
I'm good.
That's what I was gonna ask. So this, you're intending to,
Make that as a no parking zone. Yeah,
Okay.
stripe it so they can't park. They know not to park their cars there and stuff like that.
and where would they put the overflow of cars?
My Jeep off of the road.
Excuse me, can
One second.
someone mute themselves we're having a conversation here?
Where would they put the overflow of cars, Ron?
They would just wouldn't take on so many cars at each time. They would just go and do better scheduling as far as bringing cars in. When one's done, bring another one in and stuff like that.
That's why I asked how many bays, because it seemed for 2 bays where you could only work on 2 cars at a time, there's a lot in reserve here. So I was.
Yeah, I was there about a month ago, and there wasn't that many cars there. That
Okay,
was
they're not selling cars from here.
yeah. There weren't that many cars. There was probably maybe 5 cars on the lot, and
But this is what could happen. I mean, we're looking at 20 cars and a truck.
Mhm.
So is there any possibility where you have just no parking striping, which will probably not be paid attention to? People will use it. Is there any way that we could grass it in and do some planting there? So that
I would have to speak with the owners to see if they're receptive to something like that. I mean, You know,
It'll
you have the
also help-
driveway of the owner right behind it for the residential going right out to the street, which is like, 20-foot wide driveway.
I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about your site.
West side.
I mean, how much, I mean,
Well, they've got 20 cars here, so
And they're not
from
on,
Robin's point, if you have 2 bays, that's a lot of backed up.
yeah, I think this is an old picture. It could be, a couple years old.
2018.
Yeah, it's 2 years old, the picture.
Claire, is there a parking, a car equation here that,
I tried laying out a parking by the new zone, by the current zoning. I couldn't get like even, like I get like 3-4 spots. That was about it. It's just such a tight site. It's only 100 by 100.
I understand.
4 cars per bay.
so that's 8 cars total?
So there'll be 8 cars, and then the pumps also, but they're more like a queuing, so they queue up to the pump. But you could, fence it or landscape it. So the line is even not correct here. You can see that this is some type of structure. I try to have them adjusted, but it's still not clear. It's more like this, in between these 2 sets of cars, but it's correct. I mean, if we could get some landscaping right in here, that would, and fences.
Yeah. Fence
Low
and-
6 foot,
fence and
4
landscape.
foot fence right here, then it's very clear where your parking is and where they can park.
Yeah, we could probably do a fence or something like that. I don't know about landscaping. How, I have to talk to the owner to see if they're receptive to something like that. But
Who owns that strip?
who owns the strip?
This is the town's road.
That's the town's road. So
Yeah.
we have the power to say there'll be no parking on that area.
Yeah, we would refer it to the highway department, but usually they don't usually have a problem with that.
Yeah, so the fencing would be, the fencing would then be behind that reddish colored car? Is that where the?
Yeah, approximately, it'll be more accurate on the survey. So. I
Now,
guess.
what about the parking on the other side? You've got 4 cars parked over there and a truck. So
Yes.
it-
Well, right now they put a fence up so that they can't park there now. They have like a 4-foot stockade fence there now. So you really can't park a car back there now anywhere, a truck.
Well, it would be good to get a more current visual of this. I mean, we're working with old material, 2 years old.
I can inspect it and get a handle on it too.
Take some pictures.
Claire, where are the curb cuts to access both the bays and the,
There are no curbs there now currently or
They're
sidewalk.
open.
okay, so it's a kind of a free-for-all at the moment.
So did we not ask for some of that to be closed up?
We couldn't with a sign. The sign was just very focused on that issue. That
Yeah,
was
the
the only-
problem with the curbs is that it's on a state highway. And since Montauk Highway is a state highway, we'd have to be dealing with the state and all the regulations. And it would add, $80,000 onto the cost just to put the curbs in. And then dealing with the state, 6-8 months trying to get curbs and sidewalks approvals from them. It's just,
Is
It's
that
the
a-
county. It's the county.
it'd probably be a deal breaker for them. They would just leave it the way it is and, forget about the project because it's just not worth it.
Are they selling cars on this property?
No.
So all these cars are being just repaired and returned to their owners?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so our concerns here are some fencing and or greenery on the, what is that, the west
On
side?
on Depot Road.
Facing Depot Road, elimination of those 6 cars, so there's no parking in the
Right.
town right of way. More formalized striping parking spots inside.
Well, like I said, I tried doing per code by the current zoning, and the parking doesn't work because then you have to be 10 feet off the property line for parking, and then I just can't get the spots to work.
Did you do a parking drawing here at all?
I tried laying it out. I couldn't get any spot. You have to be 10 feet off the property line. Then you have to have 20 feet for a spot. You basically back it up against the building. So parking doesn't work. Formalized parking with striping per town code, as the zoning code is now, it wouldn't work.
So you'd be allowed 8 cars by code. You can't get 8 cars in there?
No.
I can work with the applicant on that
And-
issue. There's
and-
some flexibility because it's pre-existing
You know,
on
if we
the
did,
site. So we can work that out, but you're asking for formalized parking, and I agree, at least the handicap space needs to be formalized. So we'll work on that with the applicant.
But
Okay.
the repair of the building looks good,
Okay.
in my opinion.
The only other inquiry that I have, I understand that sidewalks are expensive. Is there a sidewalk to the side that ends with the beginning of that property? Is that a sidewalk? Is that sidewalk there in front of that?
I'm not,
Over here, the other, if you can put the little hands on the other side. I'm pointing to my screen.
That's okay. This way
on
on
Depot Road, no, there's
Not on
no
Depot Road,
curbs.
on
On
Montauk
Montauk
Highway.
Highway, where
Is
that,
that sidewalk
I don't see a sidewalk there either.
on the other property?
On the other property there is, yeah,
It is, that's what I'm asking. So the sidewalk stops there.
yes.
That means people who are walking can we do some islands or something that would help pedestrians to keep pedestrian flow there? Is there anything that can be done there?
We could stripe it.
Jackie, you see where I'm talking about? 'Cause the
Yeah, no,
sidewalk
I
there-
do. I mean, I absolutely do. You know, we get the position that the applicant, it's too costly for him and he'll pull the application.
Can we do some striping or something just to keep pedestrian flow on the street? or
Right.
something? Can we look into it and see what is alternatives?
I mean, we could put a stripe down there, say, you know, sidewalk, you know, pedestrian walkway or something like that.
At least something that give them some safety, at least where to look, where cars are coming in, out.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
Okay.
And the corner where the sign is that went to the ZBA, is there a turning radius there or what was the ZBA?
That's there is a curb there now. I guess the state put that in because they put the traffic signal on there. They
The
put,
traffic signal is on the,
well, the pole is actually, like, they made like a curb for the turning radius, so there is a curb there now. The state must have put that in.
and what's the
And-
pole for?
The pole is for the traffic light. The traffic light is on wires, so there's another pole on the opposite corner, and then the wire goes across with the traffic light.
So is that planted with vegetation?
Yes,
And who takes care of that?
I'm gathering the owners. I'm not sure.
The owners of your property, yeah.
Yes, I believe so. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if the town takes care of that or the state. That's a state thing. Not sure.
So that's a question, Claire?
Okay.
Get some clarity on that corner.
I'm not familiar with the neighborhood, Claire, but is it reasonable that people would be walking?
Yes, it's across the street from the school.
It is.
Okay,
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's why I was concerned about that, having nothing there for safety.
Mhm. And the railroads to the north.
So Claire, will you work with the applicant?
Yeah, so you like the design. You like the design. You just
Okay,
would want to see some site improvements.
absolutely.
Do you want to bring it back before you decide what the process might be? Or would you consider this maybe expedited, you know, just ARB, fire marshal review, not
I
a
don't think
full
so. I think it
engineered
should Come
review?
back to us, site plan.
No, it's got to come back to you, but I'm asking you if you'd be inclined to give it an expedited where it would be just referrals to the ARB and the fire marshal.
I don't know, Ron, would it save you some money if you came back to us with what you could see is financially responsible for your client to do?
For another work session, yes, that would be good.
Yeah, that would be fine.
So let's
We can do that.
Yeah, I'll work it out with Claire. Me and Claire will go back and forth, and we'll work something that we both agree upon, and then
Bring it back up.
resubmit it for another work session, and then we'll just go from there.
Yeah, I feel bad if he works up and it's not cost effective, and we could have come up with an alternative that might keep it cost effective. So
Right.
I'd like it to come back. I would suggest coming back for another work session.
Okay,
Great.
sounds good. Thank you.
Agreement? Thank you so much.
Everybody agree? Okay, good.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So the second item on the work session, Jackie, is Oceanside 406. And I'd like for you to do an introduction to that.
Yes, and if Charles could let in Blair Gaza, she should be
Okay.
joining the Zoom. And I'll share the screen. So this is the application. We are considering today the applicant's request for a work session to discuss a waiver of the subdivision requirements to do a one lot subdivision to then donate the western side to the, sorry, let me hear.
No, is this is not the 5 lot.
Today we're not discussing the full
No.
development section. No,
That's what
we're
I
not.
want you to be clear about.
Yes,
But
today
it's-
we're
It's the same property. This is just one step in the process.
correct. Yeah, this is kind of a separate side application that the applicant would like to discuss with you. Let me just rotate the map so that we can see it more clearly.
And has this map been open?
This map has not been opened. We had the hearing on November 12th. We received comments, and I will bring it back to you for a separate discussion on the merits of the development application. What we are here today to discuss with the planning board is if you would be receptive to a one lot waiver, which would essentially draw this diagonal line. Because this is excess square footage that is not necessary to meet the zoning for that map. And this is actually open space here, which actually the aerial might show it better. Let me see.
Okay, but I just want to be clear about this, that we are not in any way taking away our rights about opening up this map.
No, we are not.
And
So if you carve off one lot, how does that lot exist if it hasn't been an open map?
So this lot, so this, just think of, I know it's, kind of blurred between the two, but think of this as just, we would be considering the subdivision of just this portion. And what I wanted to show you was that this is town open space that was preserved, and this is additional town open space that's preserved. So what he is requesting for the planning board to do is to subdivide off just one lot. So in the code under 292-44, it allows the planning board to waive all of the subdivision regulations, referrals, all of that, so that we can pursue a one lot subdivision where the one lot leads to preservation. So I believe I reviewed this with Kathleen Murray in the town attorney's office, and we both agree that it would meet the standard of the code. This would not entail any of the possible development requests that he's considering over here. This would be a one lot subdivision to get this diagonal property and then allow for a connection between the two existing town open spaces.
why, and we would be doing this now before we didn't make any decisions on the full area. What
Yes.
is the urgency of doing this part of this now?
He is in negotiations with CPF to see if they would possibly purchase it. But this can be completely a separate application. He's able, I don't want to speak too much to that application, but he's able to still meet the zoning requirements and the full square footage on the west without this excess square footage he's meeting it on the east. And with this western, this is excess square footage that is not proposing to be developed and could be utilized either as development rights or could be utilized and basically donated to the town. For open space connection.
So Jackie and Kathleen, maybe you can help me with this. I don't understand how we can make a decision on this if this map isn't open. How can we proceed without an unopened map? The
Well,
town has not opened this.
So you can consider this pretty much on any lot. So this is normally the application you would see with a possible CPF purchase, where there may be an existing residence, but the CPF is in negotiations to purchase the excess. The provision of the code is that as long as we're creating one lot and one lot is going to either a public agency or non-for-profit for preservation purposes, the planning board has the authority to do this.
Has the
but I-
CPF weighed
That-
in?
if
Said
I-
they're buying it?
Jackie's asking a different question.
If I can be heard,
Thank you,
Please,
Kathleen.
Kathleen, yeah.
the parcel, whether or not the map is open, the parcel still exists, right? So the parcel exists and you're able to do that one lot subdivision, whether or not you open that map. It's not, I don't know how best to say it, but just because the map isn't open doesn't mean that you can't consider lifting development rights off of that parcel.
But it's like a paper lot? Is that what we're looking at?
Mhm.
Right now it is, sure, because you're not considering that 5-lot subdivision as part of this. They're independent of each other.
Now, is there a document that the CPF has guaranteed purchase of this?
I'll let Blair or Joe speak to that. Was Blair able to join?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Hi, Blair.
Hi.
There,
Hi, Blair Gaza here, speaking for my father, Joe Gaza.
yeah.
Yes, CPF did write a letter. They emailed it to us on the 6th of January saying that they were looking into the purchase of this westerly portion of the map. So they're looking into it at this time.
So they're just looking into it. This is not an actual offer of purchase.
Not as of yet.
Right, they could say, sorry, we've decided not to.
And I believe from Jackie, just from my discussions with Lisa Combrink, is she was very receptive to the town purchasing or owning that. And I spoke to her, I believe it was like early December after she had considered it with Mr. Gaza at a separate meeting or a separate call. So she is in support. We also did receive support from the Trails Advisory Board just because they were reviewing the development section map. So they did offer their support by a memo as well, because they saw the merit in connecting the open space and allowing for a trail that would allow north-south and access to the stream.
And so does Mr. Gaza get the development rights off that parcel?
Yes, so he still intends to dedicate it to the town. So if CPF purchase doesn't fall through, what his plans, and I'll again let Blair state this as well, but his intention was to get a development right allocation letter and a development right certificate for it if it doesn't go through. But that means he would then lift the development rights and still dedicate it to the town if we sever this piece off from the rest.
And I'm confused as to why the CPF would want to spend the money to buy it if they're going to get, if it's going to be, he is going to dedicate it as open space.
I guess
That's typically what CPF is, Member Burke. I'm not sure I understand your question.
My understanding, and maybe that's not right, is that if this parcel gets separated, he will sell it to CPF. And so my comment is, why would the town pay for it if he's going to deed it without money passing hands?
I'm sorry, I don't know that I understand. There are two mechanisms by which CPF can take a parcel. They can either take a parcel in fee with all the development rights intact and obviously pay fair market value for that as negotiated with the seller, or they can take just the underlying fee and give the seller the development rights, which obviously is reflected in the purchase price. It's obviously going to be less than your total fee. But if it meets the goals of CPF to connect more open space, then that's something that they would consider. Ultimately, it's up to the town board to decide whether or not that's something that they want to add to CPF inventory without the development rights on there. Does that answer the question?
Maybe I'll just ask a follow-up. If this were dedicated to the town, would there be a fee between the town and Mr. Gaza?
No, I don't, but I don't know in what motivation Mr. Gaza would have to just outright dedicate it to the town without just compensation.
I thought he was
Yeah,
talking about.
let me address the question to the board.
Oh, sorry,
If I may.
my father's on speakerphone.
Okay, so let me recognize you for the, let me recognize him for the record, please, Blair.
Okay.
This is Joe Gaza on speakerphone.
Right, thank you, Madam Chairman Navarro. I wanted Blair to try to do this. This is my first application, but I'm here to help in any way that I can. The westerly 1 7/10 of my 6-acre tract of on-file map, I would like to obtain the development rights for Mr. Wilcox. I already have a Doral application, which has been pending, because it's surplus or extra land. It's not necessary for my development to the east, which is not what we're discussing today. I understand that there's a lot of questions with neighbors and all kinds of issues with the development. But if I can sever the westerly 1 7/10, get the development rights, dedicate the land to the town, either by donation or if the community preservation wants to pay for residual fee because the development rights would have been removed from the property. That's up in the air. I don't know what their position will be. But the negotiations with Lisa Combrick pertain to the property, the entire property, but what they want to make the offer on probably going to be the developable land to the east. So by cutting off the westerly 1 7/10, I do not disturb my proposed development or my negotiations with community preservation, which have been going on for some time. But community preservation has only recently submitted it to town board for their consideration. And no prices have been discussed with community preservation as far as an offer, but I have looked into the value myself, and I have communicated with Lisa Combrick, explaining to her the value of both development rights and the value of lots if they were approved, which they are not at this point.
Okay, so it's all speculation at this point as to what's going to happen. And I just want to be clear that this is not connected to your 5-lot subdivision, which is on land that has not been opened by the town for development.
Correct. This is okay.
I wanted to comment on that. My land is on the map of Oceanside number 406, which extended from the Ocean Avenue on the south, which is the south end of my property, all the way up to the railroad. And the town did open approximately 90% of the map of Oceanside in connection with the development of Ken Tabaldi for Oakland Farms. It's just this southeast corner of the map, the 6-acre southeast corner that has yet to be opened for development. But the bulk, tremendous bulk, the whole north and the whole west of this map was open for development and became the map of Oakland Farms, which the board approved 5 or 7 years ago.
Right, but Joe, I don't even want to get into the discussion on the other property because that's not germane. What's before us is something else. To clarify, is it only this light green shaded area we're talking about?
Right.
Jackie?
Yeah.
I only want to talk about that 1 7/10 on the west side that I would like to sever from my section, my 6-acre development section map, so I can transfer it to the town and cut it off and get the development rights. I'm looking for the development rights.
But you want us to do that before you have some commitment from the town that they want that land.
Well, I don't have a definite commitment from community preservation. Lisa Combrick said her committee recommended to the town board that it be acquired, but we don't know what the town board is going to do.
A question for Kathleen, would that be a condition of subdivision? In other words, would the subdivision be linked to that acquisition?
That's a good question.
Subdivision
Yes,
is gonna be
um,
separate apart.
Joe, please, if I may answer that, Joe, it has to be, Dennis, as part of this 292-44 waiver. You have to have the donation to the town or the other parcel going to the town as part of that subdivision. You might recall you recently saw it in Matt Charter's application in Westhampton with the Larson, thank you, the Larson application, where you did a 2-lot subdivision.
Yeah.
And it's expedited and they're ready to close on, you're signing the maps today on that. But yes, it's part of that waiver. It's implicit in that waiver that the other parcel go to the town or other public entity, if it were Pine Barrens or something similar.
So that would be linked to the subdivision. If for some reason that acquisition never took place, the subdivision would not be finalized, correct?
Correct, yeah. That would be a condition, as you indicated.
So we're really talking about this whole project again. And I'm not comfortable doing this.
We're not talking about the project.
Well,
We're
if
talking about
it's
that.
tied, you
We're
just.
talking about the light green
Yeah,
area.
and it's tied to, I thought it was tied to.
No.
Didn't
Oh.
Kathleen just
I
say?
thought I'm sorry.
So I might be able to clarify, we would be doing a 1-lot subdivision that would result in hey, Robin, I just pointed at the screen too.
Yeah.
The light green would be dedicated to the town. The rest we would not be considering, and it would just lop this off conditioned upon dedication for this subdivision. This we refer to as a development section being open. That would not be in this specific purview of this application.
So if I may, this map should more accurately only reflect 2 lots, but unfortunately you have the overlay of 5 proposed lots on it.
Okay,
And that I think is what is the confusing part.
thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Well,
But if one has something to do with the other,
but
I also am uncomfortable. I mean, we're looking at something that we have not agreed to, has not been opened, there's been no debate about it, and it may never happen. And so are we tying our hands in doing this 1-lot waiver vis-a-vis the property on the other side? That's our question.
yes.
Are we being asked to do something that in some way limits us, or someone can come back and say, oh, well, you already carved off a lot, so I can develop the rest of it? I mean, we're trying to be extremely cautious. It's a very environmental piece.
Yes. So Jackie, to answer that question, these are 2 separate applications. So, and I did discuss this with Kathleen as well, that if we were to move forward and you're comfortable with the waiver, I can request Joe to have a separate plan, which would just show the 2 lots, essentially the one being dedicated and then the rest, which we're considering separately for the development application. And then also we have pretty standard language, which we can work on. I can work on with Kathleen as well, to say that this has no vested rights to the development on the east. So the waiver can be a completely separate application from the development application, which I will come to the board at a separate date and discuss with you the concerns that we've received from public comments, as well as agency referrals that we've received.
And
And
so,
the reason, and I asked this question before, the reason for doing this now without looking at the whole area and planning what we feel about the whole area, I'm still waiting for that reason why we're addressing this now.
You would answer.
Blair,
You want to go ahead, Blair?
Hi. So we
The
all,
answer to that question would be that it's excess land. I'm never going to get more than 5 development parcels maximum. If I get the 5 or 4, I don't know what I'm going to get on the east side, but I'm never going to get more than 5. And this is extra land that I would like to sever off and get the development rights. I sell development rights. I use them. Blair and I have been selling with other people for other projects. and I could cut this piece off, get the rights, and I think it's very important that the town own this piece.
Mr. Gaza, Mr. Gaza,
In the town's,
Mr. Gaza, can you hear me?
I'm still here.
Okay, do you need the development rights from this proposed subdivision to make the Peters Lane 5-lot subdivision buildable? Do you need those development rights to be attributed to these 5 lots in order to be buildable?
I only need about a quarter of a development right, because there will be remaining 4.5 acres of land, and it's in a CR 40 zone. So lots number 2, 3, 4, and 5 are already 40,000 square feet each. It's just lot number 1 that's a little short, and I could use a little bit of development right for lot 1.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes, that clarifies it, because there is a connection.
There is a connection.
And the whole piece has to be looked at as whether or not the town buys it, given to the town, trails connection, that aside, we have not looked at this parcel or opened up this parcel. And so it is putting the cart before the horse, in my view. So this is a work session. You're hearing our take on it, Blair and Joe. And so waiver or not, I mean, waiver does affect the overall piece.
I don't think so. I mean,
Yes. it
why
does.
wouldn't you want an environmentally sensitive parcel that's supported by the TAB, the CPF fund, and the Environmental Conservation Board? Why wouldn't you want that parcel to go into public ownership?
Because we don't know that that's really going to happen. I mean, there are lots of.
Yes, we just heard that transfer is part of the application. If the town doesn't accept it, then the subdivision doesn't go forward.
Well,
Kathy
this
confirmed
waiver doesn't go through.
Kathy confirmed
Well, let's be clear. Mr. Gaza could find development rights elsewhere in Westhampton to land. It's not entirely contingent on that subdivision, but I can't speak for him and what his inventory is.
Right.
But it could also be a positive factor in his application that now I have the development right. So this 5-lot development should go forward, because I've met another hurdle on that piece. So I think they're linked. I mean, I'll refer to the true.
I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
Neither am I.
I
So,
don't see them as linked at all. Private property. Right now, you can't, there's no public access to that land.
Dennis, it's a work session. And at
Yeah.
this point, I don't feel that I have a good enough grasp and what has gone on with the other pieces to at this time give him my positive that I would be favoring this. And that's what a work session is to let the applicant know what our concerns are and whether we're moving favorably. I'm very uncomfortable with this. And I'd like to have some more discussions with council on it, some more discussions with Jacqueline, and take a look at this project more. I'm just not comfortable. And it's a work session. That's
right, well, that's the whole purpose of the work session. And I can also say that it doesn't make logical sense to me to be looking at this when we have not even looked at the overall piece. You have not brought this, Jackie, to the planning board. It's the town's right to open up a development section. This is not open. So that's what I don't understand. That's why I say the cart is before the horse. This whole development section, it's like being assumed that there's going to be a 5-lot subdivision. Well, on what? This parcel hasn't been opened. It hasn't been evaluated. It hasn't been looked at. Should it be a sending parcel? Because it is so environmental. You know, Mr. Gaza assumes that it's a receiving parcel. He's assuming and operating as if it were an open, that we had agreed on this open parcel.
I think he wanted to speak with you today so that he could get across his point, sorry, of lopping it off. I do see that there's merit in connecting the open space, but that's why we're here before you today, to see if you're comfortable with the waiver to lop that off and provide that open space connection. And the result would be, it would be dedicated either by CPF or by lifting development rights and then dedicating it to the town.
Well, using a waiver mechanism is a way to do something with this large parcel without getting approval to subdivide it.
Jackie, what if he withdrew his application to open the map? What if he withdrew that? Then he could bring this parcel forward, seek the waiver, do the transfer, then come back and reapply to open the map.
Well, I want the town to come forward with this parcel and present it to us so that we have that is our job, so that we have a right to look at it and say, look, this needs to be a sending parcel. This is too environmentally sensitive to develop. Doesn't matter what setbacks you have or how far away or how much land you've given to the town. We have to look at the entire piece. And we have not yet done that. Is there a reason, Jackie, that this has not come before the board?
We just were receiving comments until December, so I'm just compiling that information. And he paid for the work session on this early in the fall, so I wanted him to be heard on the waiver. And then I'm ready to bring a full discussion, but we wanted to separate the waiver from the development application because I will bring that to you at a later date with all the information that we've received on that.
So you'll present looking at this whole parcel, whether to open it or not. That's what I'm asking for.
The development section requests, yes.
Yeah. With nothing on it, just looking at this piece of land in this environmental area. What should we do with it?
Which is why
that's why you have confusion here and asking for clarity, because already it's being divided up when it hasn't even been determined what it is.
Well,
sending.
In no way does it have development approval yet. That's what we're considering. This could be separate. I understand that it's tied, so there's concerns with environmental factors. I just don't see an issue with lopping off and providing that open space connection because we can still review all the merits of the development application on its own. But that's my personal opinion, and I wanted to get the board's feeling. So if you're not comfortable, I think we can finish this work session and then Mr. Gaza can move forward with his development application.
Right, the town wants to buy it, then we'll take a look at it. So you'll come before us, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, Joseph Gaza back. Under our code, it provides for development rights to be issued on properties that are environmentally sensitive. And it also provides that you don't have to remove all the development rights from a parcel. You can remove a portion of the development rights from a parcel. If I'm looking at this as a 6-acre tract, and I want to reduce it by 1 acre and 7/10, that I consider to be excess. And I just want the development rights for that 1 acre and 7/10.
I hear you, Mr. Gaza, but the entire parcel has never been reviewed by us. Whether it's the piece you're lopping off or the 5 lots you want to develop, we've not looked at this. And from the town, it's the town's responsibility to open it or not open it. But we have to have our input into it. So, okay, so.
That's okay. That's what you have to do. We did have a public hearing, and it has been under review for some time. But of course, as you want to, you will do. So the ball's in your court.
Okay, great. Thank you. So if there are no further comments, I'd like to close the work session and go into today's planning board session.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Just want to remind you if we could reschedule those 2 matters that were going to be on for January 28th.
Yeah.
My item was East Quogue Mobile Home Park. And it's a pre-submission conference, and we'll schedule that for February 11th.
Feb 11, okay. The reason for this, by the way, there was a discrepancy in the dates that got published in the paper. So we have to take what was scheduled for the 28th public hearings and move them to Feb 11. And the other one was, Claire?
The other one is
It's Jet Cab LLC. That's a two-lot subdivision, watermill, I believe.
Okay,
I think we were going to reschedule that for February 11th.
do we know how many we have on February 11th now?
right now, these would be the first two.
The first.
They weren't on tonight's schedule though, right? They
No,
were.
the 28th.
They
Oh,
were
they
on
were
the
the
28th,
28th, gotcha.
yeah, and the date
Yeah.
got screwed
Okay,
up.
do you need two resolutions?
Please.
I'll move the first one.
East Quad. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, moved by Dennis, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor, 5 in favor, 2 absent. The second change of date,
Jet Cab.
yes, Jet Cab, motion by Robin, second by Dennis, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent.
And they won't have a night meeting on the 28th. Congratulations.
Right, no, right.
Yay.
Now, but, well, you're going to be setting some public hearings today.
Correct.
Not for the 28th.
No,
No, for the 11th.
for the
So we'll
11th.
try to keep it to 4, but depends on the,
It looks
the-
like 2 so far. but-
yeah, so it's 2.
Yeah.
So if we add a couple more, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, so let's start with, in order, Anthony George Hastings.
Okay. So this is a 3-lot subdivision application in Hampton Bays on Old Riverhead Road. There's an existing residence and structures. Required some relief from the zoning board. They were successful. They've submitted a final application a couple of months ago. We deemed it incomplete. Let me just. So here's a lot, 1 lot back here, 1 lot for the house, 1 lot over here. We were waiting for a revised map. I wanted the 20% slopes or greater to be shown, which are shown on the map now. And actually, this isn't the correct map. The new map that we have shows a common driveway serving these 2 lots. So the circular driveway here would be removed. This lot would have its own access. And at this point, I think we have everything we need to deem this application complete and to schedule the hearing. I let the applicant know on this one that we were going to schedule this for February 25th, actually,
Oh.
because I do have another one for the 11th that I'm scheduling. So, but this will be for the 25th.
Okay, so
I'll move it.
a motion by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. So it's deemed complete and public hearing Feb 25.
Yep.
Okay. Claire, Connor, Friedlander Gateway 1.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody here for this. Nobody's indicated. Oh,
But this is completeness, so
Yeah,
is it incomplete?
seems like an awful lot of stuff was missing.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of items missing on this one. So let me show you the screen. So this is the map that's proposed. And as you can see, this lot is it's supposed to be a yield map. This lot has no frontage. So it doesn't make a yield map. So we would, if this is their preferred one, that's an option, but they would need to provide a yield map on this.
And a cluster. And a cluster.
Excuse me?
And a cluster.
And a cluster, well, it is, so this is the question, and I did question that also. So the lot, I want to back up just 1 second. You did see this 3 years ago as a pre-submission for these 3 lots. Can you see my pointer?
Yes.
Okay, so this larger one, this vacant one, and this vacant one. So now the application has changed to include what was, I think, formerly known as Strawberry Fields. So the lots here are all part of this application. Most of these lots are the zone for residential. I'm sorry, it's not shown here. Is like here. So the cluster is not required with commercial usually. But it is with residential. Of course, portion of it is residential. So it would be up to you whether you'd want a cluster plan or not.
Now,
So-
this is the residential that would be alongside of the Equinox gym, correct?
Well, the Equinox gym is not involved anymore.
No, but I just saw
Yeah.
where it is. on
Yeah,
Monster
across
Plan.
from the Commons, it's where the Gateway,
I just-
the Gateway project
Yeah,
was.
that's what I assumed when I looked at the map, but
Have they merged these parcels? Because there were 3 different owners, 3 different,
They have not merged them yet, and that was another question because these lots, which have no frontage, somehow got created. So they are, I do question whether they are legal lots or not.
why don't you have these people come in for a work session?
I'll suggest that, no problem. But in the meantime, deeming this incomplete, they
Incomplete.
need a lot more information in order to process this application.
Okay, maybe you can schedule it for a work session sooner than
And
later.
I'll suggest a work session.
Okay. A motion to deem it incomplete by Robin, second by Gloria, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Anthony, Sean and Jennifer Hattrick.
Yep, so this is a subdivision on North Bishop's Lane in Southampton. For a 3-lot subdivision, I'll show you the map, the existing residence. Actually, it also includes this property here. If you might recall, we had a discussion with Liz Vale last time. There was the health department picked up a discrepancy on the lot lines between the 2 properties, so they had to include this lot as part of the subdivision. But for all intents and purposes, it's still a 3-lot subdivision. It just includes this 4th lot. One lot down here with the existing residence, and then 2 lots in the back with a common driveway. I was waiting for some additional information. They gave me some additional. And there's no slopes here in excess of 15%. I don't remember why I used 15% during the pre-application report, but we did. But there are no slopes in excess of 15%. They gave us the archaeological study. That's all done. And, so now we could deem this complete. The only thing is, I was going to suggest, Liz Vale asked me, she has another hearing on Jet Cab for February 11th. So she wanted to see if she could have this one on for February 11th as well. So if we could do that.
Can I just say,
Anthony, you got a feedback on your audio. Do you have a phone open?
No, I don't.
can I
It's
ask a
good, it's
question?
good now.
Good afternoon, board members. Liz Vale, Farrell Fritz, 50 Station Road, Watermill. I hope you're all well.
Thank you. Can I ask a question? That triangle where the Board of Health said there was an issue, who owns the triangle?
So
This is all owned by one owner. Yeah.
Lot 4 owns it. It's part of Lot 4, right?
yeah, well, yeah, it's part of this lot, Robin.
Oh, okay, so it's going to stay part of that lot.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You know, we're approving something that has some very odd shapes.
Yeah, I mean,
did-
it's an odd shape, but the lots themselves are, aside from over here, but they're okay. The building envelopes work, so
Even
it's really just this lot up here.
Even with the triangle coming out, that lot is okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Sorry, go ahead.
feedback. I'm sorry.
yeah,
You're getting feedback, yeah.
But yes, even with the triangle.
That lot's okay. All right.
Yep.
So these 2 properties in the open area, if you show the other map, the aerial, just show the aerial. So there's a house here. No,
yeah.
up, Anthony.
Well, there's an existing, here's the property right here. There's an existing residence here,
And next to it is what? The other way.
over here.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh,
That's a resident.
That's a residence.
Like a house?
Mhm.
And there's a residence.
Right.
Yep. And the 2 new lots would be back here.
Would this lot 4, was that part of another subdivision? Or was that a standalone?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think, Jackie, it was part of a subdivision. I think these are all described property. I could be wrong about this, but there had been a lot line change that the health department picked up on, so that's why they.
I'll just double check to see that it wasn't part of a subdivision. It looks so evenly divided.
So
that it looks like a
rectangular.
subdivision. Yeah.
To do that.
Okay, so
So we're asking for February 11th, just because we have another matter on that night now for JetCap, if you would.
you don't have to travel though, Liz.
I know, well, that's true.
The beauty of Zoom. Okay, we're deeming it complete and setting it for Feb 11. Motion by Dennis, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Okay, Claire.
Thank you so much, board members.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bridgehampton Commons, we're looking at a master sign plan. Matthew, oh, it's Claire.
Yeah. And InterScience is one of the entities to be let in.
It's pretty difficult to see some of those renderings. So maybe they can be made larger.
And that's
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. Brant from InterScience, 36 Nugent Street, Southampton, New York, for the applicant. Claire, I just come across some information from the applicant, and they are asking if it's possible to adjourn the discussion today.
Definitely, no problem. If I mean, if the board's amenable to it.
Yeah.
I'll get you the information, board members. I'll get you the full set with the color. When it goes through the packet, it kind of, you'd lose
It was
So,
quite small. I just
Yeah.
have one question for you to bring back to your client.
Sure, and
What's happening with the water tower? That's all I want to know. Okay, that's the question.
I'll ask them that question.
Thank you.
I think the packets will be helpful for you to see in person as well. They are much more clear when you have them in front of you.
Right, well, we don't have that opportunity because we're all on Zoom, but at least if they're not part of the packet, Claire, maybe they could be larger.
I can send them they're in color
Okay, but
by email.
they were all vertical,
Yeah,
so flip them around.
yeah, and I was, it's hard.
Yeah, hard to see.
My
I'll
next-
send it to you what I have. The applicant provided it to me by email. If it doesn't come clear, we'll send you the packets in the mail. So we'll figure this out. Okay.
So it's off the agenda.
So is it possible to schedule this for January 28th?
That's fine with me. How about the board? I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll move it to the 28th.
Great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Matthew, we're moving on to Westhampton Boatworks and Storage.
Sure. Bring up the aerial for you. A lot going on here. This is at 401 Montauk Highway in Quiog.
You have anyone coming in?
No, nobody coming in. This is really just for work done. It's just at a pre-submission conference. They've done a lot of improvements on the site over the past couple of years. This was, noticed by the building department. They've received a violation. They've reconstructed some structures. They worked on the roof here, did a lot of paving, put fences up, did a lot of improvements without approvals, essentially. If you can see.
Do you have any photos of
This
this?
is their site plan, floor plans. Yeah, I do have renderings and elevations. It's pretty much all as is. This is how the site looks now. But just this is really to legalize a lot of the stuff that's gone on here. And it's also going to be for a change of use because they have some pre-existing uses on here. Not only the boatyard, but there was a retail flag shop that's now a tile store. And there's also 2 houses on the property. But this is just to set a pre-submission conference. And if we're still good with scheduling for the 11th, I can schedule for the 11th if that's okay with Claire.
So that would make the 4th for Feb 11th.
I wanted to put one other on, but you're first. So.
But whatever you want to do, it's fine. I can move this to the 28th, whatever's easier for you.
We can move this to the end of February, right?
That's fine. Yeah, I can tell the applicant.
Let's do that.
Okay.
And then it'll give us some time to look
To look at it. It's a lot.
like a whole complex.
It's quite the complex. It's a lot to digest. Most of it's in the description there that's on the agenda, but we'll schedule this for the 25th.
Okay. So motion to schedule, motion by Gloria and second by Dennis. All in favor? 5 in favor, 2 absent. Okay, the bridge, staff housing, Claire, that's you.
Yeah, I think it's Roger Ferris is supposed to come in, if you could. Charles.
Yeah.
So this application, sorry, I have to get you to the spots, is for relocation of existing staff housing on the property. If you board recalls, not too long ago, maybe 8 years ago, they approved staff housing on the Gulf of the Bridge site. Let's see. Still there, sorry about that. Here's the property. So as you come in Millstone Road, you take a left, this is the existing staff housing here. And their proposal is to propose a maintenance building and to create a pavilion and to relocate 8 of the staff housing units that are inside to be outdoor areas by using refurbished, why am I blanking? Containers, yes, thank you.
Shipping containers?
Shipping containers, yes, yes, which I think is interesting.
Yes.
I think it's interesting, definitely. I did have a concern and I relayed this to the applicant who is here. Is the applicant here?
Yes, Roger's there.
Yeah, I'm here, Jake Watkins from Roger Ferris and Partners.
Great, thank you. I'll have him explain in a second. I did have a concern. Maintenance area is very typical. There is another maintenance area. We'll definitely review it and it doesn't impact the neighbors, which is a good thing. But I was concerned about this. They don't have amenities inside the shipping containers. And I had not known of that prior. I know he's had some preliminary discussions with the building inspector about the issue and we're looking into it more, the town is. But here, I'll show you the actual, that's the site plan.
And where is this in relation to the road or anything?
Yeah, when we go back to the aerial.
Yes, please.
And it's now the aerial's a little bit
It's about 1,000 feet
sideways.
away.
Hold on a second, I can switch it. Here we go. So Millstone Road, you come into the site and then it's the first left onto the property. So it's very interior to the site. Obviously, these are their own subdivision lots that are not developed yet.
I've actually been there several times and I know you take a long time before you get to anything. It's not close to houses or anything.
Correct. So I'll have Jake speak to this and then I'm recommending they have all the basic information to set a pre-submission conference for this application.
Thanks, Claire. So it is 3 parts: the maintenance storage facility, which is it's a new drive location, and it's basically a renovation of the existing workers' housing. It's a renovation. We're basically taking 8 sleeping units that are inside the building and pulling them away from the building further. And this is essentially due to last season with COVID. There are 30 workers living in the existing the existing workers' housing, and 28 of them did get COVID. So we're trying to socially distance as much as possible the sleeping units, and in doing so, repurposing shipping containers and refurbishing them, which there is a lot of precedent for, both nationally and globally, actually, in a really nice way to basically separate the workers further from each other. There are some renderings that we put together. Claire, I don't know if that's something you can share as well.
Oh, the latest rendering, let's just see.
You said no amenities. What did you mean, Claire?
No bathrooms.
Oh, bathrooms.
There is an existing bathroom facility. Part of the facility that you see, there are a couple parts to the expansion. There are the 8 sleeping units, and then there's an exterior pavilion, which can be used for eating and gathering. And that is immediately adjacent to the existing workers' housing. And the idea is to basically, in the refurbishment of that workers' housing, create a dedicated bathroom facility that is dedicated to the units that are exterior. So inside the building, there'd be a dedicated bathroom facility for the workers that are inside the existing facility, and a dedicated bathroom facility that can only be accessed by the workers that are living in the new expansion facility.
And where is that exactly?
It's on the first floor level, immediately adjacent to the pavilion.
So it's sort of like summer camp, you know, there's just one.
This is it's seasonal housing, and the workers are there. Time is really of the essence for this. The workers are coming. Even the construction methodology, one of the main purposes of using the shipping containers is to get this done quickly. And we are trying to utilize the facilities that we have, trying to utilize the construction methodology that can really help separate the workers when they come for the season.
So you have 8 units outside, 1 person in a unit, and then how many will you retain on the regular building?
It's a total of 30 still, and I think they want to be able to play the distribution a little bit more.
So 22 on the inside?
Yeah, that'd be the numbers, 22 on the inside.
But if your goal to do this is to prevent COVID spread, having half the people use one bathroom, I'm shaking my head.
The current if the facilities are really part of this, part of a concern, we think it's a much greater improvement than what we have. You're pulling workers away from each other so they don't have the interior interaction. Don't have the shared heating and cooling facilities that are in one particular building. We are pulling away. There are 2 bathroom units on the inside of the building. We have another dedicated one to the workers. It's primarily for the sleeping facilities. Either you have a family unit, they might be a partnership arrangement. They have 1 single unit on the outside. And so there might be more on the outside, I'm not sure. But essentially when they're using the interior facilities, they are, it's a completely dedicated and separate unit than the rest of the people that are inside.
How does our building codes work with this? This is.
We're checking in to it.
Oh, okay.
Building inspector, I've finally got a hold of building inspector, and he is checking into it thoroughly. Yeah.
Do the shipping containers have egress? Do they have egress windows?
Yeah. So the later pages, Claire, I think show them a little bit more. Is this part of the same package?
Is this it?
Yeah. There's a package I emailed this morning. I don't know if I could.
Oh, you emailed me more?
I emailed you a package this morning. Oh no, here they are. Yeah, these are actually. This is perfect. Yeah. So essentially, they're double wide shipping containers. If you go back to one screen previous, and they're being retrofitted with windows on both sides. It's big sliding doors on both sides.
I would like to hear from the building inspector that this is.
There's a prescribed distance of path of travel to any facility. It's 500 feet, and we're 150 feet. For the building.
But down the stairs?
Yeah, downstairs or on the same level, yeah.
So yeah,
what about the
you have to go downstairs and then down another stairs?
Yeah, it's prescribed in the building code.
What about the health department, Jake, in terms of
the current workers' housing is designed for 47 beds. That was part of the original application. And there are a total of 30 in this whole complex still.
And how many bathrooms are in that one big building?
There are 3 existing bathrooms in that one big building. I think there might be a couple of single compartments, but I'm not. Yeah.
So 30 people with 3 bathrooms.
1, 2, 3.
They're if you look, they're not individual bathrooms. They have showers, a couple vanities, a couple toilets in each one. It's more of a dorm style bathroom. It's not an individual bathroom.
And the 8 units outside would have not access to these bathrooms, but a bathroom that you would install outside somewhere in the center of this pod,
This
right?
is their bathroom. This would be their bathroom.
There's an existing bathroom that would be repurposed on the lower level. That would be repurposed only for the units that are on the outside.
Oh, so they'd have to go inside. I
That's
see.
right. Yep. Instead of walking to another shipping container, they walk back into the building.
Have you looked into composting toilets at all for the containers?
No, we haven't. We're trying to utilize the existing system that was there. Seemed much more of a building code issue that we were working with.
Composting toilets, I mean, are used certainly in situations where you don't have access to a full plumbing system and they're, sustainable. And I mean, it would be worth looking into.
I think if there's a desire to really have individual bathrooms in each unit, or maybe a dedicated bathroom on the outside in a closer proximity, we have the capacity. The current system has the capacity for that loading, since it is designed for 47 beds. We're not changing the number of individuals here. We're just utilizing the existing facilities and separating them so that they're not being able to be used by everybody. It's kind of quartering off them.
Claire, those stairs that you showed that you were smiling about going downstairs, where was that going? What was those stairs connected to?
So they are, right, am I mistaken? And you'll come from this level?
Yep.
And then you'll come down these stairs and then go down one other level of stairs to get into this building?
No, it's just one flight of stairs. There's a great change between where the units would be located and where the first floor of the existing workers' housing is.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's not like a basement.
No. Yeah.
That's what I was looking at Claire's face and I'm saying, I gotta ask that again.
Yeah, I didn't know how deep it went. So
No, it's essentially like about a half story, I want to say. You right now, the existing, you walk into the first floor and have to walk upstairs to the second floor.
So if you take 8 units out of the big building, are you going to reconfigure the spaces inside? Because then you'll have 22 units and you'll space those out. Is that what you're going to be doing?
Yes, there are currently 2 levels of units in the existing workers, and the whole bottom level, taking all the units from the lower level and reconfiguring that space. So there'd just be the existing units on the second floor, no living units on the first floor, be a storage and office for staff workers, and then on the first floor, and then those units would be placed adjacent to the existing building.
I think it all comes down to the code, what's allowed. I think repurposing something like a shipping container is a very creative idea. I just don't know code-wise if it would work, Claire. So I think we have to do some research on, or the applicant has to look into that.
We're confident it meets code, but otherwise we wouldn't put it forward. Building code.
I just have never seen it before, and I've been here for a while.
Where
you're doing housing,
container repurpose for workers' housing. It is a unique application. Granted, this is the first time that I personally have ever put forward shipping containers for workers' housing as well. So it's a first for both of us, which is good.
No, the shipping container thing is, it's fine, but it's like is the no amenity, no bathrooms for housing.
They do
in the
have
same
amenities.
building. That I've never seen before, or a connected building with a cover. Just, I like comfort. I'm sure they do too.
these will be comfortable, and whether they're walking down the hall to the bathroom or walking down an exterior pathway to the bathroom.
I just imagine that it might not be comfortable at night. So
in the rain.
When you say seasonal, what months are you talking about?
It's seasonal. Workers arrive generally April, and then I think it's October, but I'd have to confirm that.
April to October, April, May, June, July, August. So 7 months, right?
I'd have to confirm that, Jackie. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact time.
Yeah, that would be helpful, I think.
Okay.
Thank you. But in any case, you know, they would like to get this started. And if you didn't hear, they thought they would get approval in time for this season. But it just takes a while. You know, this isn't, as I said, it's a full application. We have to have pre-submission. Maybe the board would want to consider just even approving the pavilion so they'd have some outdoor space. I think that would be very reasonable, you know.
Where are they, Claire? Here?
This is just this pavilion right here. So after your pre-submission, maybe you consider expediting that aspect of it if you're comfortable with it.
And what is the pavilion used for? Just outdoor seating or?
Yeah.
It was an outdoor amenity, outdoor seating for the new
Here it is.
bedroom units.
It's a big open space, right?
Yes, that's right.
Is
it has bathroom facilities?
No.
Yeah. Well,
this doesn't, right?
just on the other side of it, that's where the bathroom facilities are, just to be clear. It's like you walk down the stairs and you're in the bathroom facility right there. That's where the bathroom facilities are. They're that close to all of the potential sleeping units.
Okay, so I'm recommending a pre-submission for February 11th. In this case, this would be the last item, number 4.
And we'll have something from building code.
By then, yes, he's looking into it now.
Okay.
Okay. And health department, do they need health department review if people are sleeping in these?
Yeah, we'd have to get an exception or a waiver from needing any additional facilities and using the existing facilities.
Okay, so you're going to be looking into that.
That's right.
Great. Okay, so public hearing on February 11th?
Yes.
Okay.
Pre-submission conference. Yep.
Pre-submission conference. Any other questions?
Motion.
Motion by Dennis, second by Robin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. And then my next one, if Bailey Larkin could be let in, Charles.
This is the wireless tower in the cemetery.
Yes.
Not in the cemetery.
Oh, this is the wrong one. In the cemetery, but not in the other cemetery.
Oh, okay. Right.
In the cemetery that's on Montauk
We
Highway.
recommended, right.
Yeah, you had recommended the other site.
Our pre-submission report was quite clear and detailed.
Mm-hmm. So I think I sent under the separate packet the visual assessment. I don't know if the board had seen it. It may be worthwhile to talk about the application. So this is the property. It is as far as I know, it's vacant right now, but it is owned by the cemetery to be developed as a cemetery. That's the aerial. And
Can you click up surrounding properties, Claire, please? If you go back to that. Across the street this is Bowie 1.
Bowie 1 is adjacent to it.
Adjacent. Okay.
It's like an out parcel. This is the Brevio Motors or former Chevrolet Motors across the street. And then this is the Bailey property, the Bailey property that was purchased by the town of Southampton. This is open space here.
That's the town, okay.
So the proposal is to put it in this corner. I'll show you the plan. This is your pre-submission conference. Which we're really concerned about the visual impacts of the project, going so far as to say that maybe you'd hire someone to review the environmental review on this.
But it doesn't meet code to begin with.
It doesn't meet the setback to the fall zone in the corner, correct?
It's like, what did you say, like 7 feet, 10 feet, when 125 feet are needed?
Yeah, it looks like 24 and 20 foot setbacks.
That's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'll turn it so you can see it correctly. So this would be the proposed road for the cemetery. The space and the location would be up here.
So it's right in the corner, yeah, right? Is it in the corner of the property?
Yep. This is the proposal 125 concealment poles with the antennas interior. I'm recommending it deemed incomplete. One of the issues is that there was supposed to be an archaeological phase 1 at B, and I still haven't found it in the documents that the applicant said that was submitted. So that was one issue. And the second issue, more importantly, the town engineer is not recommending deeming incomplete. They need additional information. So that is why I'm recommending to deem it incomplete.
Okay.
Bailey, did you want to say anything?
No, I'll submit additional copies of the phase 1 that was
okay. Yeah, that would be fine.
And our architect is working on getting the additional information that the engineering department requested.
Okay, and are you, the board, not at this time because we, still getting through our applications, but do you want to schedule something in the meantime to talk about the visual impacts? I want you to take a look. I think there might be either additional information being needed or, you can make an assessment of the information submitted to dates, but it is very visible coming up Montauk Highway and over that open space parcel.
So Claire, is this an unlisted action?
It is an unlisted action, yes.
Well, we can always put it through secret, pause decket and go through.
I mean, I just think, I think you should start taking a look at it sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
But what about the code issues? I mean, doesn't that really preclude us from doing anything? If
you're the entity that would give the waiver for the setbacks and the thresh, and then that would be part of the code. What you would look at if you felt that it doesn't meet the code and it doesn't meet the community, the plan for the wireless, that is another finding you can make under SECRA. But that is all part of your review of the application. We're concerned about setbacks, their impact to residential. It also helps with visual impact on a project. So that's all something that needs to be looked at sooner rather than later, because you'll need, we saw this even with that other application in Watermill. It took you a while to look at the in visual, and you finally concluded that yes, it does meet all your criteria. However, it just took a little time to do that. It's hard to do it in one meeting over Zoom. So
at least from the get-go,
right,
violates code. So I mean, that's what Gloria's saying. It doesn't meet the code. It's unlisted, and it could go through a review, and we could pause decket and.
Okay, so the applicant will get the additional information, and I'll schedule this sooner rather than later for SECRA to start to look at it, just so you are comfortable, as you look at it. Okay.
And have they looked at for alternative sites?
I was just going to ask that.
Bailey, do you have any word on that?
We have actually, I think we had discussed it at the pre-submission public hearing. We looked at actually, Bowie 1 was interested, but it's right on Montauk Highway. And at prior applications in the area, there was one on I think it was the Seabreeze Motel on the south side that was brought before this board a couple of years ago for a pre-submission public hearing. Again, it's right on Montauk Highway. And actually at one point in time, I believe there were discussions of having it and I'm drawing a blank on the name of the restaurant down the street. But there were wetlands concerns on that property. And again, it's right on Montauk Highway. Where we were proposing to put the pole, although it doesn't comply with setbacks, it complies with separation distance requirements with residential properties in the area and any residential properties that can be developed with residences. And we were also trying to push it as far back in the property so that it had less visibility from Montauk Highway and also from Seabreeze. At that location where it's proposed, it's almost 300 feet back from Montauk Highway. And this board, I mean, there was a wireless tower application approved on a property, Mr. Tortorella's property in Hampton Bays. That was a project where we had proposed the pole actually significantly back on the property. Again, it didn't comply with setback requirements entirely, but it was for the purpose of pushing it as far back as possible off of Montauk Highway and to try and reduce any visibility of the site. We did submit a visual analysis, so if you would like to, obviously take a look and see if there's Any additional viewpoints you thought were necessary. We tried to take them from as many locations in the surrounding areas as possible. I think there's 12 viewpoints included. A lot of them were non-visible sites, so they're marked off in the report as non-visible from that location. But obviously, the applicant's willing to discuss anything that you have concerns over.
Have you discounted the cemetery site, the other cemetery that we recommended?
There's no space available at the other Westhampton Cemetery site. There's no space available.
Claire, is there any other development going on in that immediate area? Because there's a lot of vacant land there, and that always makes me concerned whether there's any other planning going on in that area that we should know of.
So across the street is a little further down is the golf course, the little Nation golf course.
Right.
And it's currently being a special trade contractor building across the street from this immediately.
So does the one even across the street have any effect on this project or any of our concerns?
The one that's being currently constructed?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we have
I'm
any.
not familiar enough with the area. I'm just concerned that, you know, when I see a lot of vacant land and a new something going in, I always like to ask what else is being planned in the area so we know if there's going to be issues.
Sure.
And it's also, there's requesting 125, but our code gives them another 20 feet. That would bring it to 145, which makes the fall zone even more dangerous. And so we might want to look at if we a lower pole, if at all. It's just a very difficult location for it, particularly with the code violation. So,
Okay.
So incomplete. Motion to deem as complete by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Anthony, Wildlife Associates, section lot 1, lot 54.
Yep.
Covenant amendment.
So this is a property in the Wildlife Associates subdivision, 6 Blue Jay Way. I believe the zoning is R80 over there. The covenants in this.
You need to put something up on the screen.
Yeah. Can you?
This is the aerial right here.
Is this an application that's being submitted by Kelly Hume?
No.
We're not seeing anything.
There's
There's
nothing
nothing on the screen.
No, we've got a strange blue screen.
blank.
That's the desktop.
I mean, it's blue.
Hold on. That is strange. Just bear with me because I'm having an issue here.
Go out of it and come back in, Anthony.
Well, I'm trying. It's not letting me.
Oh. You want me to skip over you and then?
We may have kicked you out of your.
Yeah. Do you want me to pull it up? I think I have your attachment.
Yeah, I'm having an issue here now.
Yeah. Just close out of the screen share if you can.
It's not letting me do anything. So I
Okay, why don't we go to Vintage Vines and then come back to you, Anthony, if that's okay? You want to noodle around with it?
I'm going to have to come out and come back in.
Okay, do that. And we'll go to Jackie.
Okay, Charles, is there any way for you to unshare the screen? Because it's giving me, I cannot share screen until the other participant is done.
And he's locked. So there
Hold
we go.
on.
Good.
Is that better?
Anthony, did you want me to share? I have your stuff. Do you want me to share?
I could try it again.
No, I'll share for you.
Hold on.
Wildlife. That's the other application. You have another one, Anthony? You clicked on the
Hold on.
wildlife.
I have all of Anthony's stuff.
Looks like it's working though for him.
This is me. This is Jackie.
Oh. So this is Wildlife Associates?
Yes. Is this it?
That's it.
Okay. Sorry. I was looking.
J-Way. Anthony, do you want to work with this, Ariel?
Madam Chair, I'm going to recuse myself because I have a client buying a property that's near this property, and I think it would be improper for me to go on the record on this, so I'm going to be asked to be recused on this.
Okay, good, Robin. Thank you. Anthony, do you want to use this screen? Are you there, Anthony?
I think he might have logged off.
Yeah, I think he's out of the meeting right now, Jackie.
Okay, why don't we just then move on to vintage, Jackie, to you, Wittgenstein. So
Coming in now.
Oh, he's back.
If you're doing this one, I'm going to
Thanks a minute.
get out of here.
Okay,
I think he's coming back.
just give us a second, Robin.
Okay.
Anthony, I have the area.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
And the map is up.
Blue Jay Way, it is a covenant amendment that we've done a million of these on in the subdivision to go from 35% to
Okay.
50%.
I am going to, let me just recuse, stop my video and recuse.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is a covenant amendment for the Wildlife Estates, Section 1, Lot 54, 6 Blue Jay Way, to allow them to file an amended covenant to go from 35% to 50%.
No issues with this, Anthony?
Nope, it's the standard. There probably will be a site disturbance that comes back with this one. We're still waiting for an updated survey, but in the meantime, they could go ahead and do the covenant amendment.
Okay, so
The site disturbance is in worse shape because it's at 35% now. So going up to 50, it won't be as bad.
It may be overcleared still, believe it or not. So,
Bill.
That's why I said may not be as bad.
yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Okay, motion to approve the covenant amendment.
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by, I can't see anybody here on the screen. Anthony, you want to take this off?
That's Jackie. She's going to do it.
Jackie, can you take it away?
Trying to unshare.
Second.
Thank you, Charlie.
Second by Zuccarelli. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention. So we have 4 in favor, 4, 5, 6, 2 absent, and 1 recusal. Robin Long. Okay. Next, Oakland Farms. Anthony, do you have the ability to put it up?
It's actually off the agenda, as a matter of fact. We're still waiting for the engineer to sign off on that.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I've come back.
You're back, Robin. Okay. Number 12, Vintage Vines.
Is this the last one?
This is actually regarding the split rail fence, so this is not a site disturbance.
This is a positive thing here.
Yeah. So let me share the screen and I'll talk you through it. So as you all are familiar, this is Vintage Vines. So I just highlighted all the parcels just so you could get a visual on a more recent aerial because the last aerial was from like 2014 or 17. And with this, we did request that there be split rail fencing installed to prevent encroachment. So that is bonded along with the road and drainage bond. And what I've highlighted here for you is the blue and the pink is what we required. But in walking the site and with the applicant's request, they are basically stating, and it is true based upon field inspections, that all of these properties, because essentially all of them have pools that are built, all of them have rear pool enclosure fencing. So what the applicant is requesting is that the pink is what is still needed because the pool enclosure fence essentially starts at the blue. So this is fenced because it's the adjacent property's pool enclosure fence. What they're requesting is to provide you with the pink, which would essentially meet up with the, from the street frontage and to the applicant's, each individual property's pool fence. But I walked the entire length, especially this area here. I walked from the south to the north. And you'll see also, so it was along here. So this is Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, just to give you an orientation. This is the Long Island Railroad spur, which is on the south. So I walked up this entire rear yard frontage, and the thankfully with the development under one developer and with Rayner marking the properties as fences were installed, this is all very cleanly fenced with the pool enclosure fence. As well as this says here. So what we have discussed was providing the pink, which would essentially provide split rail fencing in the front yard where, they're not allowed a fence of greater than 4 feet. And then basically what I discussed with the applicants was a possible, where the orange is, this deviates from the approved plan that we requested, but would give a sense of where the open space is. And one of my concerns was that if you can see it here, there is an old farm road that used to go through here. So I'm concerned that there might have been illegal dumping. So there was some recent dumping and the applicant has actually cleaned it all up. It's like very clean, but there was some historic dumping that was probably, predated this subdivision. And then there was some possible recent dumping. So what I wanted to do was to, since they would not be essentially required any longer with this board's approval to provide the blue fencing, if the board would be amenable to do some roadside split rail fencing, open fencing, where I have delineated the orange. And then also, this is the Channing property, which I believe this property was purchased from the Channings. So just to prevent any possible encroachment from the farm, there was some activity over here with some trailers and some equipment. So, and because of this historic farm road, which I walked, I just wanted to make sure that we clearly delineate that rear property line here, and then also provide split rail fencing along here to deter anyone who's trying to dump. This is a depression right here. That used to be used probably for, materials and disposal. And then just to have it match along this frontage with the orange. And then this portion, which this is the entry. Right now there's evergreens that line the entry. And then basically once those evergreens stop, which is in approximately this location, to continue the spiral fencing here. And then, as I said before, the pink is what was previously required. This is...
Jackie, isn't, if you could just put the last map back up.
Sure.
That one, yes. Isn't there evergreens that are across the railroad spur?
There's evergreens right here, yes. They, I believe, I have to talk to them again, but I believe they were going to remove or move them back from the right of way pursuant to highway. One of the things too, Lorian, that I wanted to bring up, and I know you're aware of, is that this is a trail possible location. So I've walked this old railroad right of way, and then I do want to make sure that we can get to the north through here. This is nice pristine woodlands, which we were hoping to do a possible future trail connection to Hampton Court. So I did discuss with the applicants that there might need to be like a 4-foot gap in the split rail fencing to allow for that pedestrian traffic. So they were amenable to that. And then I just wanted to let you know, like, these are the site inspection photos that I took on Tuesday afternoon. So it kind of shows you they have installed some of the pink that I highlighted in these locations to delineate the open space. And then this would be the portion, this is the curve to the north. This is where that square open space parcel is, but there's a depression right over here. And there's a historic farm road, which is, passable if we didn't fence it, but they would be amenable to fencing that to secure the property. But this might show you, so this is the more southerly lot on the west side. I forget the number offhand, but you'll see that this will now delineate it. But then once you get to a certain point, it's the person's retaining wall, and then they have their property fenced beyond that. So there's really no need to have a split rail fence adjacent to a pool barrier fence when the yards are very clean and they've all been developed essentially at the same time. So I have a resolution for you.
Who is in repair of these? Do they have an HOA or?
No, generally this is just for delineation, and over time, they naturally degrade, but at least there's still a delineation with the posts.
No, I think it's great, but
yeah.
Suppose it falls down, and who's responsible for it?
I guess the town would be, but generally these are very passive and they last for a while. And then the ones that I've seen that are older, they're still in fairly good condition, but usually the rail kind of comes down. But
so we don't want to make any provision in that? This is not an HOA.
This is not an HOA. All of this is to be, the open space is already dedicated to the town, and the roads are to be dedicated to the town. They're at their final phase of development for the roads.
And why I'm asking about the entrance to the railroad spur, you can't drive onto the railroad spur anymore from the turnpike, only from Lumber Lane on the other end, because the dumping in there is unbelievable.
In the railroad spur?
Yeah.
From Lumber Lane?
Some from the houses on the turnpike
Mhm.
and some from Lumber Lane. I mean, the trails group every year pulls out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of truckloads of
Out
stuff.
of this area.
I mean, like solidified 100-pound bags of concrete,
Wow.
car parts.
Is
Now-
that part of the open space that walk trail?
The railroad spur was dedicated. So this is the Lumber Lane beginning of it. And then it essentially, oh, well, actually, let me see.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a fence across at Lumber Lane now, but I mean, every year we go in there, there's just, it's ridiculous the amount of really big, heavy stuff.
And
It's
so
not
it's
just-
mostly along this narrow portion here, Gloria?
And then into the woods to the north.
Oh, because I walked the woods. I didn't see any, but I mean, it's
I
winter.
mean, I haven't walked it. We didn't do anything this year, so it would have been last year.
Okay. Yeah, I walked this entire portion along the west, and I didn't see any evidence of dumping. A few tennis balls, baseballs from the property owners to the west. But Jackie, you can see this is the long old railroad right of way right here. This is Lumber Lane. And so the goal was to have this open space and provide for a trail, which Glorian's saying that does need some cleanup. And then to provide for a trail to Hampton Court and then be able to connect with the Long Pond Greenbelt.
I mean, I think it's all fine. It's just that where's the responsibility lie with?
Well, I believe with the town, unfortunately, if there's been illegal dumping, I didn't witness any on my site inspections, but I'm not saying that it hasn't happened.
My reference is more than a year old because nothing was done in 20.
And all I can tell you, Glorian, is that I actually walked the entire open space when prior to it being dedicated, and they had cleaned up as well, the applicant. They cleaned up the entire railroad spur, made it passable, and I walked the entire spur and open space. So it was clean when we accepted it. Unfortunately, it seems like there has been neighbors dumping in the area based upon what you're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but we have that challenge on any trail that you can drive into.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? Because they are essentially not having to provide what they previously were. I mean, you can see this is a very long stretch of fencing. They may be amenable to providing more split rail fencing at the Lumber Lane, here. Because I believe there was a gate, but they would probably be happy to install 2 rows of split rail fencing here with pedestrian only access.
There is a fence there now, but I think a lot of the dumping is coming through properties on the
adjacent properties.
And it may be that property owners, but it also may be other people that are using their driveways to get in. Because we actually used the last time we did it, we used someone's driveway to get
stuff
out in so we could get the stuff out because we couldn't carry it out.
Mm-hmm.
Rang a doorbell and asked permission. We didn't just do it.
I can also, I can speak with CPF too and see if they would be able to, if it's in their jurisdiction, to post signage so that it's more clear,
No dumping.
that there's no dumping. Yeah. I can reach out to CPF and see if that's something that we can do. But is the board okay with essentially the fencing plan sketch? So it would essentially eliminate the need for the blue.
I think we're clear about it, Jen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I just need a motion.
Motion to approve the request for modified split rail. Motion by Gloria and I, second by Dennis, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. You have another covenant amendment for Babe Woods at Hampton Bays.
Yes. I will share the screen. The applicant was not able to join us, but I did discuss with him the, what we'll be discussing for this meeting.
May I have the address on this property, please?
Yes, this is,
27 Bay Woods Drive.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
You want to do a desktop, go to sleep?
Yeah,
No,
here we go.
No, I couldn't make it out. It's a
No,
little-
I'm looking at the agenda.
Oh,
You're on Vintage Vine map, Jackie.
Oh, do you see the Baywoods now?
No, nothing.
Oh, let me start again. Let's see if this works. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry. It must have been a little stuck on the Vintage Vines. So this is the lot 14. This is Baywoods at Hampton Bays. We have seen this previously. This is again one of those maps within the 5-year portion, from 84 to 89, that the planning board imposed on this map a 28% clearing restriction, but to make it consistent with the aquifer protection, it would be entitled to 50%. And this lot is exactly 40,000 square feet. So they're entitled to 20,000 square foot of clearing. I am recommending that the covenant amendment be done as it's consistent with previous actions we've taken within this same map on other lots. And just as a condition, I'm recommending that an updated survey showing the existing clearing areas be submitted. So that way we know whether or not they need to submit or revegetate. And then the standard conditions for an amended covenant and review and approval by the town attorney and filing with the Suffolk County Clerk's office.
Can you provide us with the percentages here?
Yes, it's 28%. Is what's restricted now, and then as a result, it would be 50%.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve this covenant amendment?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
5 in favor, 2 absent. Anthony, bridge facilities.
Yes. So this is just a maintenance bond for bridge facilities. This is property on Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton.
Same problem, Anthony, just your desktop.
It's not popping up again?
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you, Anthony.
I'm not going to be able to.
Charles. I think Charles has to stop the share.
I'm having an issue here again. I don't believe. Okay.
All right, 1 second.
You have the bridge facility pictures, Matt?
Yeah,
They're not in the packet.
Oh, they're not in the packet. I'll grab it for you.
I have.
Hold
them.
on. It's not working.
Anthony, I have them if you need the bridge facilities.
Are they popped up there?
No, it's blue again.
All right. You can pop them up for me, Jack, if you want. To the board, this is just a maintenance bond. The bridge facilities site plan in Bridgehampton, 2183 Montauk Highway, HC zoning district, has been built out. All of the structures are in, all of the landscaping's in. So we're looking to.
Anthony, sorry to interrupt. I do have the photos up.
Good. You could just, if you want to just go through them, so you could show the planning board some of the site improvements, the existing structures. And you could see if you go back to the other photos, you could see they did the, landscape pavers that came out really good.
Yeah.
So everything's in order. So we're just basically going to set the maintenance bond. It's based on a third of the cost. Their cost was roughly $135,782. So the maintenance bond will be $45,261.
Okay, motion?
Motion.
Dennis, second by Gloria, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Woodland Pines, lot 22, site disturbance. Anthony, that's you again.
I'm sure the
Okay,
screen's not.
let Matthew or Jackie pull it up.
Yeah, I guess so. I have no choice now.
Give it up, Anthony.
I'm giving it up.
And you're in town hall.
I know, weird.
That's
And
why-
everything's right here. I could see it on my screen. So
Do you have it,
Um,
Jackie?
Are
Do
you
you want me
doing
to-
it, Matt? You're
Yeah,
gonna pull it up?
I'm bringing it up before I share. I can share it.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
All right, so this one is just the aerial. This is 37 Whipple Lane. It's in Woodland Pines in the East Quogue subdivision. We did a covenant amendment for this some time ago. This was one of those situations where you're going to see a lot of these, and it does pop up. You'll see some more in this subdivision. But we had the clearing restrictions in place, and tennis courts were being issued permits, and resulted in these properties being overcleared. And these tennis courts have been issued COs, including this property here. Nevertheless, the applicant in this case worked with me after we did the covenant amendment. They went ahead and they actually ripped out this tennis court, and they ripped out this driveway over here. So now they only have the one driveway, and they've eliminated the tennis court. And Jackie, if you go down one more, I have the planting plan.
Sure.
So basically, area where the tennis court was, they've revegetated, and then they brought it down the side, and then to coordinate in the front, this is where the driveway was. They actually did the plantings already. I did all the inspections in September, and then I forgot to put this back on the agenda. I forgot with the pandemic, it just got lost. But nevertheless, they did do the work, and everything's in order. So I'm just recommending approval of this site disturbance application so that the CO could be issued for the property.
Okay, and you include the new language that we.
New language is in there, but they, like I said, they've already done it. So
But
I actually think
still-
I have to amend it again, but yeah, it's in there.
Okay. Okay, motion to approve this amendment
Motion.
by Gloria, second by Dennis, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Matthew, Rolling Hills Estate, section 1.
Pull up an aerial for you guys. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Yes.
So it actually looks a lot different than this now. This is from 2018. Those are the last images we have. But they cleared a lot of the front of this property. Within rights, they've done some grading in the back, but they're a little bit over cleared. See on the next page. I know the survey's a little small, but they're going to be re-vegging all along the side here. It's a pretty simple plan because it's not a very large area. They're only 6% over. They're putting in 20 red oaks, 50 mountain laurels, and over 300 low bush blueberry. So it's pretty standard. 1,400 square feet is all they need to do to get them into compliance with the 60%. And so this has all our new language, and he's looking to move forward with this relatively quickly.
Okay. Motion to approve the amendment here, the revegetation plan.
Motion.
By Gloria and second by Dennis, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Okay, we have a ZBA referral, Stuart Bosky. Can someone pull that up for Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony, I have the.
Okay, it didn't work again, I'm assuming?
It didn't work.
Didn't work,
Okay.
so.
All right, if you could do
I
that
have-
for me,
I have the
Jackie, I
aerial. Yeah,
would appreciate it.
no problem.
Okay, let's start with right there is actually good. So we have a ZBA referral, and I believe Bailey Larkin's here. I'm not sure if John Bennett's here, but Bailey's here. We have a ZBA referral on this property. It's on Flying Point Road in Watermill. It's got 2 existing single-family residences on it, 2 swimming pools, one here, and then some other accessory structures, garages, barns. But there are 2 legal pre-existing single-family residences. Property has a very long history with the zoning board and with various lot line changes. It's not really pertinent for our discussion. At the end of the day, what we have here is an R80 zoning, but they're looking to create 2 lots, one for each of the single family residences. This would, there you go, requires relief from the Zoning Board of Appeals to accomplish. So that's, and we haven't received the pre-application on this. So we got the ZBA referral. This is the map. Here's the existing residence here. Here's a second residence on this property. They're proposing to demolish and redevelop the site. So it was referred to us, and I had prepared some comments. If Jackie, if you could go to the first page, the first and second page, actually, if you go that.
Let's do full screen.
There, perfect.
Do you want the
So
second?
basically, this gives a very brief description of, the history of the property as it relates to the zoning board decisions that created this property and sort of resulted in 2 single-family residences on one property. If you keep going, Jackie. And then this outlines all the relief that's necessary to create the lots. Largely because there's existing structures on there, and then of course because the lots would be undersized in the R80 zoning district, but no new densities being created as a result of the subdivision. So that was my first comment to the zoning board was, we understand that there's 2 legally pre-existing residences so that there's no new density being created here. The second issue talks about the pre-application report. Typically, we get a pre-application, we have the hearing, we do the referrals, we prepare a report, and that report is used as the ZBA comments, but that didn't happen here. So we're providing the comments based on the information that was submitted to the zoning board. So I caution the applicant and the zoning board to understand that once we do referrals at the time of a formal application, there could be additional map changes that are needed. So I note that in here. The third point is that this is in the agricultural overlay district, and I know no new densities being proposed, but any subdivision in the ag overlay district is a type 1 action. So the zoning board is going to have to coordinate this with all involved agencies, and the applicant's going to have to submit a long environmental assessment form. The fourth point here talks about the driveway. And if Jackie, if you could go to the subdivision map again, that'd be great.
Sure.
So basically what you have is you have an existing driveway serving the lot, the existing house over here. And then there's a second driveway that you really can't see, only partially see, that serves the second lot on the other side. It looks like, and it's hard to tell, that the applicant's proposing some type of new access, which would, result in the front yard of lot 1. And unless they're keeping the driveway, the existing driveway on lot 2, it effectively eliminates the parking on the property. I don't know that this design works. So, we're creating 2 lots here. First of all, we don't want to have a parking area in the front yard. The town code doesn't allow for it. Town code prohibits it. So they would either need relief from the zoning board of appeals, but as my report says, the planning board wouldn't be inclined to support relief to create a large parking area in the front yard. So that's what I say in here. And basically what I say is either keep the 2 driveways separately like you have them now, or do a common driveway that comes down the middle and then goes over here and over here. But coming through here and then looping around and creating a parking lot, what Jackie's showing there, just doesn't make sense for the subdivision. So that was a planning issue that was raised. And keep going, Jackie. The high priority area, the properties in the water quality improvement zone. And I believe that with the construction of the new house, it would require an upgraded septic system. But I believe that the septic systems should be upgraded for this subdivision, even for the existing residents. There are water features, and I don't know what creek it is, Jackie, on the other side of the road, but it is a fairly, environmentally sensitive area, and I think it would be worth getting systems upgraded if we're going to create 2 separate lots. So that was one of the issues. And then the other issue is that the structure that they're proposing to demolish is an old structure. I can't ascertain exactly when it was built, anywhere from 1850s to the late 1800s, as far as I can tell. So I don't know its historic significance, but it's old. It's over 75 years old. So the has to be reviewed by the Landmarks Board if they're going to do anything to the structure. And so obviously we would expect the zoning board to make that referral. And of course, I point out here any of the programs and opportunities. It's not an exhaustive list, but just some that identify what you could do with a historic structure, whether it pertains to the town zoning code or federal and state programs that you could preserve. But nevertheless, as it states in here, this is going to requires a review from landmarks. So, we stress that point to the zoning board. So those are the issues, as I could see, as it relates to the subdivision. The subdivision in and of itself doesn't pose a problem, I don't think, because it's not creating new density, and I don't see any issues with having two separate lots for the two separate houses. But the issue about the driveway, the septic, and the historic are identified as issues as it relates to the subdivision.
Anthony, check on the secret. I think I'm sure the ZBA does secret on this. I think it's us that does it. Check with Claire, because I'm not sure they do the secret.
Well, they're the ones with a pending application right now. We don't have a pre-application or anything, but I could certainly, what we could do, Dennis, is I could put in the report that the planning board, because it is a type 1 action and it requires coordination, that the planning board would like to be lead agency on this. We could certainly advise the zoning board of that.
Yeah, because I mean, theoretically, they could obtain their variances and not even go through with the subdivision. I think it's the subdivision that triggers the type 1 action, but
that's a very good point, Dennis, actually.
I think it might be true because the variances asked for are they area variances, Anthony?
Yeah, they're largely area variances.
And that's
yeah.
a type 1. That's a type 2 with the ZBA. Dennis is
Gotcha.
correct.
Okay.
It would be the planning board where the type 1 designation comes in.
So I can make that revision, Dennis, to advising that it's going to be a type 1 action pursuant to SECR and the planning board will do the SECR review at the time of a subdivision application.
Anthony, I have a comment about your statement that there's no density change because there are two houses. But the density change, they plan to knock down a small house and put in a much larger house. And it's going to require some additional area variances in order to do that. So,
as far as yes, you're right. I actually was there today because I walked the beach this morning. It's the house on lot 2 is huge and old. The house on lot 1 seems to be pretty small, and they're suggesting a much larger house. And it's across the street from Mecox Bay. This is an environmentally challenged area. So I think the density is an issue, even though it's one dwelling. Yeah, when I speak of density, again, I'm not speaking of the size of the units. Obviously, we could address that, but what I'm speaking of is just the number of single-family units that are permitted, which would be 2 on this. And the other side of it is, absent, going through the subdivision, they could go ahead for building permits, withdraw every application to the zoning board and the planning board, and get building permits to redo everything on the property and never come to the planning board. While we have them here for the subdivision, I like to identify the issues. I was just merely pointing out that as a result of the subdivision, there would be no additional single-family dwelling units. But I can make that clarification.
Yeah, clear. Yeah.
The fact that you list the additional reliefs that they'll need, in my mind, that should be tied together.
Okay, that's no problem. I could do that.
Okay. Good report.
Thank you. Does Bailey have anything? She's here, but I'm not sure.
No, I didn't really have any comments. Just so this board is aware, a couple of years ago, there also were variances granted for 50% expansion of that smaller home on proposed lot 1, which would result in a home that's almost the same size as what he's proposing now, but it would be 2 homes on 1 existing property. So part of our request before the zoning board is presenting that, as right now, he has the benefit of variances to expand that secondary dwelling. But with this application, he would make a non-conforming use into a conforming use by subdividing that secondary single-family dwelling and putting it on an individual lot.
Good point. Okay, so are there any other comments?
Move to adopt the report.
If not, let's adopt the report as amended, Anthony. Motion by Dennis, second by Gloria. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent.
Thank you.
Okay. Claire, JB Properties, Secret.
So the last time we had seen this, Bailey's a person, and if you could let Mike Shiano in also, Charles. And so what I did is you had some comments and you wanted me to write them up to include in the negative declaration. So I sent that to you ahead of time. So if the board has seen it, do you want me to go over it a little bit? I had asked that that we put in a statement that the planning board is not in favor typically of in a 15,000 square foot highway business really doesn't support expansion. So is that the language, Claire? Yeah, I added that to the section, and then the applicant represented and the planning board essentially agreed it was enclosure of some existing storage space in terms of the building in this case. So you found that it was consistent. Obviously, as the IA systems being proposed, the closed loop system with the car wash, put language related to that. They had some east and west signs on the east and west side of the buildings, and they have agreed to remove them. Otherwise the cross access will be retained on the property. And the applicant had addressed your concerns about the traffic at the last meeting. So I recommend adopting this negative declaration. Okay. Any questions on this? Mike, did you need to say anything or?
No, I was just here if anyone had any other questions. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no questions, we'll adopt a neg deck on this application. Moved by Dennis, second by Robin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew, you are now 19, Smith, Gerard, Isabel, and Gerard Smith. Secret.
Charles, can you let Katerina Grinko in, please? Okay. Everybody see the aerial?
Yes.
Okay, good. While we're waiting for Katerina, I'll give you guys just a brief background on this. We have a pending 2-lot subdivision application. It's currently incomplete. I have the map on the next page, actually. So there's an existing house on this lot in the back, and there'll be a new lot created in the front. We did the board chose to coordinate secret on this back in October because of the timelines at the end of the year. This is as fast as I can come back on because there's a mandatory time that we wait for comments. We coordinated with the health department and with the DEC. The applicant completed the first part of the part 1, and this through the DEC does give them ability, it flags certain things. So this did come up flagged as being, potentially in some kind of environment for tiger salamanders. So we did not hear anything back from the health department, and when we received sort of the coordination letter back from the DEC, they didn't provide any comments. I did speak to the analyst of the DEC. It's a little compartmentalized there, where the permitting department will look at SECRA. They'll say, is there any jurisdictional issues? And there wasn't. This is not in the jurisdiction of freshwater wetlands or tidal wetlands. I asked them if they had any additional comments related to tiger salamanders, and he said, as part of this action, the creation of the lots through the subdivision, no. But when the front lot is improved, there's the potential that they'll need takings permits. So this action, it wasn't a concern. So I'm recommending a neg deck. I can go through the part 2 if you want me to, but I do have a little narrative on the part 3 that I can read through.
Yeah, let's read the narrative.
Sure. Short environmental assessment form was completed and reviewed with the review of area photographs, soil test holes, critical environmental areas, DEC regulated freshwater wetlands maps, groundwater maps, as well as topographic maps and zoning maps. The project area contains an existing residence, so the action, a 2-lot subdivision, will only result in 1 additional residence, which is not substantial and will not result in any significant environmental impacts. The project area was found to be located as a potential habitat for tiger salamander. No additional comments or recommendations were provided by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation regarding the action, which is stated as a 2-lot subdivision. Potential negative impacts associated with the future development will be mitigated by New York State DEC permitting. Then I mentioned the incidental takings permit. And then finally, the proposed subdivision is within the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, a critical environmental area. The protection of natural vegetation in accordance with the clearing restrictions of the town code will help protect groundwater, which outweighs the potential negative impacts associated with the development of the property.
You use the term associated with future development, potential negative impact. Do you need to clarify that by saying with construction or?
And I can add that, when they improve the property,
I just think it needs a little.
future improvement of the property may result in, that they will get permitting from the DC. I can add that. That's fine.
Otherwise, it's.
Go back to the map.
Sure.
How are they going to get to the existing house? Because right now the driveway is running through.
Yeah, that's so I also have this on for discussion, and that's why Katarina's here also.
Yeah, I mean, and that driveway is kind of like Middle Line Highway.
Yeah. So that's the second part of this. If we could get through SECRA, I'm also going to fill the board in on what's going on with the driveway, what my recommendations are. But if we want to do the neg deck first, and then we can have a discussion with Katarina about how we're going to.
This house is around the corner from me.
Yeah.
So I'm very familiar with the property.
What's the topo here? It's quite hilly,
Yeah,
right?
it's significant. I can show you the grade.
They
So
have
as
enough
you
space.
come in, as you come in from Middle Line Highway, it comes down pretty significantly. 17.5% comes down, then goes up almost 12% grade.
Wow.
It jogs around into a hole. So at pre-application in 2018, it was a time when John LaRosa, our former town engineer, had retired. And we hadn't hired the new assistant town engineer yet. So the engineering division was referring applications out. So we got a referral back from the outside agency who was doing these applications for us, and say, from what they can see, it conforms to code, because at pre-application we don't get common driveway plans. They just look at the proposed map, and they had no issues. Their recommendation was either to leave the driveway as it is and use it as a common driveway, which that's what they're proposing now, or to relocate it to the flag portion. Now, seeing a driveway profile, I don't think it's appropriate, being that it's no longer a single homeowner that's going across their own property to the back and using this driveway. It's going to be 2 people. It's a safety issue, and it's well beyond the scope of any approval that either the engineering division or the board normally approves. The most I ever see is 5%. I've never seen something that's 17.5%. The applicant's just requesting that, after the negative declaration, that we deem this complete and get to a hearing, and then at that time they'll provide us with a common driveway plan. It's my recommendation that we should get that first. So, we're looking at this, and all involved agencies are looking at this sort of with our eyes open about where the, driveway, is recommended to be.
Katarina here, does she want to say something?
Yes, just to the Matt's point with respect to the requested driveway plan, since the application is for subdivision and we're not looking to immediately improve this other lot, I don't know if it's possible to deem us complete at this point. We're happy to provide the final plan as part of the final approval, or maybe it can be conditioned on the proposed or revised driveway plan, but I don't know if that's possible, something Matt and I discussed, and just want to get board's opinion on that.
I mean, I can't see how we could approve a subdivision when we don't know if the existing house can actually get to their house.
So, but this is secret determination.
Yeah, and we also have it on for secret and to discuss it whether, we should deem it complete or not. That's, also involved with that, with the,
Well, could we get a revised plan that shows the road going up the drive, where it is?
Yeah, I think that's what Katerina is offering. I think it's just a
Yeah.
timing issue, because once we deem it complete, we do refer these maps out to agencies and, we're on a time frame. So if it's not the board's intention to approve this driveway as it's currently located, it's silly to refer out a map that's not going to get approved, and we're not going to get comments back. It's going to get slowed down or deemed incomplete by the engineer at the end.
Right.
There also is the issues, their health department's going to expire next month. There's a couple of things that need to be worked on. I just think it's more appropriate that we get the map revised before.
Yeah, I agree.
Great.
So what's our action here? Anything?
This would be to adopt an egg deck.
Okay, and Katerina, you'll submit some new plans.
Yes, but we'll need time because Squires Holden is very backed up, so I don't know how quick they can get the revised plan together.
Do we need any extensions on this?
It's already incomplete, so the time clock is stopped.
Okay.
So it's an egg deck?
Yeah, motion for an egg deck.
Dennis?
Even incomplete.
And deeming it incomplete, right?
It's already incomplete.
It's already incomplete, so this is a
This is
motion for an egg deck. Dennis, second?
Second.
By Gloria, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Okay, Middle Line Highway, signature, acknowledging a signature.
Yes, the signature of the final subdivision plat, and I just inspected the revegetation that they put in, and it turned out very nice to prevent the use of the historic driveway.
Okay, so that's acknowledged, and acknowledging the Shinnecock Hardware East signature.
Yep, this was for the propane storage tank. This was approved back in November. We also have a walk-on acknowledgement, Jackie.
Yeah.
It's for Benedict Larson. That's a one-lot subdivision with open space for a CPF purchase that Phil signed back in December.
Okay, so acknowledging the Benedict Larson signature, application for signature.
And then I have one more acknowledgement, Jackie. We had talked about Long Island Auto is signed
Long
also.
Island Auto.
Yep.
Acknowledging Long Island Auto application. So there are 4 signatures we've acknowledged.
Great.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Robin, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
We are adjourned till 6 o'clock.
Do we think it's going to be long tonight? I'm trying to decide when to eat.
Well, have a snack. There are 4 applications. It's hard to say. And you have time. It's 20 after 4. You have
Watch
time
the traffic.
to snack and digest. Okay, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you,